Hey, howdy. Hey, folks. It is Mrs. Johnson with the Agro Wisdom channel on my last video for at least now on sentence level grammar stuff. Today, we're talking about types of words, specifically things that make subjects and actions, and then other words that do other things aside from subject stuff and action stuff. Subject action stuff is like complete sentence stuff that we talked about in one of my first grammar videos. Um, Subject being the thing that is doing something, and the action is the like actually doing part. Um, and I probably don't have the best videos on grammar, but they are something, so we're gonna talk about it. And I hope that it's helpful to at least somebody. So let's start off with subject words. Subject words. So if we remember back to my video about my other videos about grammar, subjects are things or the things doing things. So let's talk about it. We have nouns, pronouns, adjectives, and articles. Nouns, things like Jake, dog, boy, toy. Right, Jake's a proper noun because it's a name. Places are proper nouns. But like nouns are um, words that can words of or words that describe things. Has like the object itself. They describe very explicitly the object. Jake, I can like go poke Jake. Dog, I can go poke the dog. Boy, I can go like point at a boy. Toy, I can go point at a toy. You do get nouns that are like love, prosperity, honesty. Those are things that I might not be able to physically point at, but I can like point at examples and go, that is honesty, that is prosperity, that is love. Um, and so nouns. Pronouns are like pronouns are words that take place of nouns. So me, myself, I, he, she, they, it. Um, if I can put pronouns are things that I can put in the place of nouns. Um, and so if I said Jake likes dogs, I can say Jake likes them or he likes dogs. And I've inserted pronouns into that sentence. Now, let's talk about more subject stuff. Adjectives. Adjectives are describer words specifically for nouns. So, brave, kind, tall, loving, joyful. If I can put it just before a noun, it's probably an adjective. That if it's a descriptive word that I can put just before a noun, probably an adjective. So, brave Jake, kind dog, tall boy, lovely toy, friendly dog, things like that. An article is something that an article in English is a word that comes before a noun to make things a little clearer. So, the dog, a boy, that Jake, this dog. Um, those all indicate which one am I talking about. Um, and for the most part, that's pretty much all articles do is like point out which one I'm talking about. Is it this Jake? Is it that Jake? Is it a dog or is it that dog? So now that we've covered that very briefly, probably not super well, there's probably better videos than mine on these kinds of words, but let's talk about it. Next, action words. What did I separate into action words? I separated or action type words. Now, just because I separated them into these categories does not necessarily mean that you won't find them elsewhere in a sentence. But this is like take this as a grain of salt, but like this is kind of how my brain works when I start thinking about how sentences are made and where I'm gonna put different kinds of words. So first and foremost, prepositions. What are those? Above, except, of, in, since. Prepositions are things that give you context into when or where that verb is happening. Give you context into when the action of that sentence is happening. What is verbs? What are verbs? Verbs specifically are the action words. And you've probably caught me throughout this little grammar series that I've done today, talking about verb or subject, verb, subject, action, and using verb, action as kind of interchangeable. They are a little, not quite. Verbs are the action word specifically. I think I mentioned that. Jumps, thinks, does, finds, see, is, am. Like those are all either states of being or states of doing something. And adverbs are things that specifically talk about how the action is done. You can jump badly. You can never think. You can nearly find. You can hopefully see. Right? Those are things that describe the action that is happening in sentences. So last but not least, now that we've talked about action in sentences, we're going to talk about other stuff. And there's like two other things that I feel is worthwhile to talk about. You can jump into super nerdy English stuff and talk about different things and more words. But for now, conjunction and interjection are our only other like exceptions to the subject action categories. Conjunctions are words like and, or, because, since. Think of the words that would like naturally make longer sentences. So like because, right? We talked about the like complex and the compound sentences and the compound complex sentences. Conjunctions are the words, if it's not those like combining punctuation things that combine sentences. Conjunctions, more often than not, are the things that you use to combine sentences. And often one of the first ways you learn how to start building longer sentences. And if you start using a lot of conjunctions, you might end up in run-on sentence territory. So it's best to keep conjunctions into like one, maybe two per sentence, and then you're good. Probably not run-on sentence if you have one or two. Interjections. What are interjections? They're like, hey, ow, hooray, ah. So these are like word sounds, things that stand on their own. They're not really like describing like something, and they're not really describing the action of doing something. So, yeah, that is all I have for you in terms of like types of words. If you ask me more questions about the types of words, I might be a little lost. I will try and point you in the right direction. I will probably point you to a different YouTube video, but feel free to drop your questions if I'm confusing, if you want me to clarify something. Feel free, ask me. Especially if it's a fairly simple question. I am more than happy to like find you resources and send you stuff. So via YouTube comments. So yeah, have a great day. I hope we're learning something, and I will see you soon. Have a lovely day.